What's up, y'all? Another 24-hour trades. Um, yeah, let's get right into this thing as we do so well. So today, just to start us off, looking at some of the news that was released at 5:30 this morning. We have hourly earnings, non-unemployment change or non-farm unemployment change. So the NFPs, and then unemployment rate. So pretty much, we had a lot of, um, wow, that was crazy. It looks like we had like a decent amount of gain from some of the stuff. I'm not going to act like I know the news, but we did have it get released. Unemployment rate went up slightly. I mean, there's a little bit more employed people, but from what I could tell, last time we had unemployment change, there was a lot that went down, so it makes sense it's going back up again. Just to look over kind of what's going on the charts right now. It's kind of what we're actually good at. So taking a look at higher time frames. So this is on the 4-hour here. We can see that we did have an attempt at breaking above yesterday, but we failed to continue. We actually broke back below the trend line, so it's kind of like a false breakout moment there. And then we tried to come back up again, but there was a couple different issues with that. One, we broke back under support, now turn resistance. We also came back up and had two rejections actually on these like hourly of the trend line. So of course we had price continue down into the next zone. Let's see here. Don't really need this anymore. So now there's a couple different things that are going on. So one, the price moved down quite a bit since London session. We did come down. We're in some sort of an exhaustion area right here. This was yesterday's trend line. I just left up, so you can kind of ignore that. But basically, we're coming down and we're in some sort of like exhaustion zone, because if we look over here to the left side of this, this was actually a huge resistance area, which is now our new support area, kind of like liquidity zone. So one of the things that I would look for if we were going to take sells is we'd want to see a break below the current low here, and then we could have some potential fall down into this lower area, which is about 400 points away. But I'm more interested in this area right here. It's about 175 for sells. Just because there's on lower time frames, it's a little bit of a support area, so I think there might be like some of a hold up there. If we pop down onto the 15-minute, we can see that we created a higher point here, which is also in confluence with what was originally like a support zone for breaks. So now we're using that as resistance. So if we can get some breaks above there, then we could be clear up here for some traffic, which is up to this next zone here. So we might be looking at taking some buys potentially, depending on how candles decide to close. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. I think we just kind of got to be patient with how these candles are developing. We can even see here that this was a huge liquidity area all throughout here, just because we got a huge wick. So pretty much like it started kind of around here and it's just made its way down. So just something to look at we're kind of in a spot right now where we're trying to, I believe we're trying to actually create a support area, um, which would be good for us, just because we want something like this for a trend, so that price could break back above. I mean, I don't, me personally, that's not what I would like to see, but in the market in general, would like to see price go up. So if we can hold that area right there and continue, then I think we'll have price continuing up from here. But yeah, it's more like higher time frame, daily. What do we got? Still inside of a bit of a bearish candle. Um, and weekly, we had a big wick. We can see on this is kind of like a doji candle forming on the weekly. Today's the last day, so hopefully it doesn't end on, or if it ends on this like a doji, then we'll probably have some more like downward movement again before we continue up. Wouldn't be looking very good for next week. So Fridays, I'm telling you, Fridays are good. So I think depending on how today plays out, it's gonna kind of set the tone for next week. If we can, continue, if we can continue on up to this zone by the end of the day, I think that would be setting us up for some potential buys next week. But if we have issues, break in and just continue down or stay stagnant, then next week we might be stuck in consolidation or just keep crashing. So anyways, that's kind of my thought process on it. So we're kind of waiting on a couple different things. We just had price kind of break above this trend here. We could get some potential rejections from the upside here, and then fall back down. But if we did, then we need to establish like a level of support that we could take some sells out of, because there's a lot of range here for price to continue down before we hit like our next area for sells, and it's about 132 point range there. So I wouldn't be surprised if price broke back down before continuing up. So we'll just have to be really careful, trying to take buys out of this range here into the next area. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Just sounds like we're just waiting to see what price is going to do. Anyways, so it looks like we have price continuing up, or trying to push up our resistance area at least. We did have that break above. The thing about this is though, now we are experiencing some movement pre-market, kind of that premature movement going on right now. We kind of experiencing some rejections in this area, and now yeah, we push up our resistance. So the thing is, like, we could have some price crashing back down now that we've done so much movement. We are getting some little bit of resistance from sellers, but I have a feeling they're just gonna kind of let some of the bigger sellers are gonna let price play around in this area before dumping. You know, other case scenario is that price just continues up. That could happen too. But even from like a 5-minute perspective, we just broke out of this area now, and still haven't really done a retracement from so many bullish candles. So a market open, I like to see at least like a wick down. But if we start to get closes, goodness, oops. Yeah, if we start to get closes above the area, then we might jump into some buys. But yeah, even though the resistance area got pushed up, it's given us like an opportunity for still more movement. But again, I'm not really too fond of the way that how much price has gone up, and then the candles that are forming right now. It really seems like to me that we could get some movement downward because we have clear traffic down onto this next range here, which is our previous, I guess, support area. Yeah. So, and you see that wick. Yeah, what a so we got about 30 seconds before this market gets rolling. Honestly, this is just showing me a lot of bearish confirmations. We'll probably end up entering the market here shortly once price breaks below 22. It could be even on this next candle here, but we'll see. See how price decides to develop here. Just opened. Yeah, so that kind of pushed down our entry zone if we were looking to take sells because of that candle that just formed or closed there. So now we're kind of looking at some potentials below 35,000. If we can get some breaks above 88, then we could take some buys here. So we're kind of waiting to see how this price is going to play out. It's not looking very friendly. I would have assumed that price was going to continue down, to be honest, just with that move that we had. But it looked like it was just grabbing some orders, maybe doing like a little bit of a pullback. So we'll see how this candle forms here. Looks like we need to fall a little more. So you can create a wick on the bottom of this candle. Oof. What a mess this is. About 5 seconds. Goodness gracious. Price is really just kind of playing around right now, so indecision. So we're just trying to be patient and see where price can take us. Right now, it is a Friday, so I'm not too surprised that price is moving around kind of awkwardly. Most Fridays are. I wouldn't say that there's not enough movement on Fridays, but I would just say it's kind of hard to figure out what price is doing. Feels like to me Fridays are like kind of more patient, require a little bit more patience to catch any movements. Still 104. So we'll see what's going on here. Looks like price wants to keep crashing here. But we'll see. We might just be creating like another another wick. Real ugly. So I mean, right now what we have is this range. It's about 100 point range that's going on right now. That we're kind of messing around in. So we'll have to. We're just gonna be, careful. We just created this range within this market session right now, or this session that just opened. Um, so we're kind of, how do I say? We're just there's a lot of indecision. This big like order block zone here that's going on, which I mean can be good. Since we had price continue up so much pre-market, I'm not surprised that we're kind of trying to find our ground here before continuing on to like any major moves. So jeez. Price doesn't want to break out of either of the zones really, which is fun. About 7 minutes into market, we'll kind of see what's gonna happen if we get stuck in this area all day, or price wants to maybe price wants a breakout for us on one of these. Yeah, one thing I noticed over here is that we did have some more wicks over here. I didn't think it would be much of an issue though because um, this was kind of just like a random, very like a couple wicks. It's like a 5-minute candle here, so I didn't think it would have like much interference on what's going on here. You can even see from like our 5-minute perspective, we got uh, we got a lot of rejection going on. 15 minutes not really showing nothing yet, just a big doji. So that's kind of like what we're working with right now as we come into the market, as we're started our market open. I really think we could get some continuation though down um, to that next low. It just seems reasonable for what's going on. If we were to break out, um, just because we've been having some difficulties even getting down into any other zones, about 100 points away. I could also see like us breaking above too, but we had so much movement up, and now we're just creating like some indecision or like market orders really. So what's going on? So I could definitely see price come back down to retest 2. This is kind of why we wait for candle closes. That could be promising. Price just keeps pushing up my freaking resistance. Oh my gosh. There it goes. I just bought in. Had 27. 127 is my purchase price. And our target should be 50 points. So we'll see what happens. 32 points in profit. $40. See if we can push to $50. There it goes. Let's go. Golly, bro. Come on now. Come on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on now. Come on. Show me something. Bounce back. Straight profit, you heard? Hey. Bounce back is real. Oh, Jesus, sorry. I'm just in here talking all that ish. So really, kind of what happened here, we can take a little bit of a look here to see kind of why I took the entry. So what I was waiting for was just a stronger candle to close, just because we had so much like pushback from, you know, especially like these areas here. You can see that there was a lot of indecision from the market in general, and then we came up here, and you know, there was a couple times that we had candles close, this specifically because this was our original high here, and then we had a candle technically that did close above that area. So I mean, if we go here, it did close barely, but the thing is, like, that's why I kind of like to wait for the next candles to see how they develop. Like this one, I probably would have waited for an actual full close above if it had gone up then. But what we can see is that we are, this just created, it had no bottom wick on this candle, that candle right there. Jesus, it's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about. This candle did not have a wick at the bottom, so it just was acting weird. So that's why we kind of waited for price to do its thing before trying to jump into the market. We did wait, and ended up playing out for us, because what we can see here is, even though price had come up, and you know, you could have taken an entry right here, but I didn't like that because even then we had a pullback, which is why I wait for the next candle after the close to see how price will develop. But as if price ever did this where it was like creating like a higher spot like this here, I would just push up my or like it did right there. I would just create in I would push up my resistance, because at that point we're just creating more liquidity, more liquidity, more liquidity. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know, obviously every time we create liquidity and don't break or don't continue up, it's actually because we are in some liquidity area. So you don't want to buy in there, because those are where they're collecting a bunch of orders. And so it wasn't until that we broke out of that, that it became interesting to even enter the market. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just looking to see if, yeah, see, we probably would have got stopped out there. But I was actually just looking to see, because I'm trying to see if it makes sense to, still trying to see if it makes sense to extend profits or reduce stop losses on these type of trades here. I mean, we barely walked away with, our 50 points there, so it was a solid entry overall. But we can still have more sorry, kind of got caught up there. But anyways, we can still have more um, like entries or moves for the day. I only take one trade. I think later on, like I might see um, if it makes sense to take like multiple trades in a day, because on like a move like this where I would capture 50 points, um, it's potential that we have a continuation back up. Like right here, we're kind of retesting the area that we just broke out of. That was previous resistance, and now we're kind of using it as like a support area. You can see. So you could even look for like, maybe like a couple rejections and then like a breakout candle to continue on with the bullish movement that was just going on. So later on in the future, I might look to take more entries, potentially, just because if I had missed that move there, let's say, for example, I just missed that move and didn't enter the market, I probably would still be looking for more entries to take. So in the future, I'll test out that validity. We're almost done with the sample size. Kind of got pushed out because I went on a little vacation. But our first couple days back of vacation were rough, to say the least. And so now feels good. Feels good to be on a winning trade here. So, but anyways, hopefully y'all learned something today. Hopefully this kind of helped you understand like patience or developing like your own rules, and get you guys some profits in the future if you haven't got any already. But anyways, hope y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for tuning in to 24-hour trades.